Americans love Mexico. Despite the country's negative portrayal in most American shows and movies, such as Narcos and Sicario, the numbers don't lie. According to the World Bank's World Development 2023 report, Mexico beats all other countries by a large margin when it comes to harboring American expats. Of all the countries mentioned on the list, including the likes of Canada, the UK, and Germany, Mexico received more than 700,000 American immigrants in 2020 alone. To put this number into perspective, Canada, which ranked as the second most popular destination for American expats, held a mere 300,000 American immigrants in 2020. Taking these numbers into account, the question begs to be asked: why are so many Americans searching for a better life in Mexico of all places? Before we start, subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon to never miss a video from us. How did we get here? To understand the meteoric rise of American expats rushing to Mexico, we must analyze the context in which these changes took place. Take, for example, this statistic. From 2019 to 2022, the number of Americans who applied for renewed residency visas increased up to 70%. Instead of coming to brash conclusions about American immigrants in Mexico from this particular data point, it would be an aid to our understanding if we could pause our spiraling thoughts for a moment, take a step back, and have a look at the bigger picture. When it comes to the bigger picture of the rising numbers of American expats in Mexico, it consists of several factors. The first factor, of course, is the long history between the two countries. In 2022, the United States and Mexico marked the 200th anniversary of their diplomatic relations. Bound by shared geography, history, and profound cultural and interpersonal connections, Mexico stands out as one of the United States' closest and most esteemed allies. While there have been some obvious ups and downs in this relationship, Mexico and America are mutually dependent on each other in more ways than one. With a 2,000-mile border with 47 active land ports of entry, Mexico's geopolitical position ensures that the bilateral relationship between America and itself influences the lives and well-being of millions of Americans and Mexicans. Furthermore, the rising number of American expatriates in Mexico isn't a phenomenon occurring in a vacuum. Increasing immigration to Mexico, along with the long, shared history between the two countries, impacts and has always impacted a wide range of issues, including trade and economic development, educational exchange, citizen security, drug control, migration, human trafficking, entrepreneurship, innovation, environmental protection, climate change, and public health, to name a few. This extensive relationship between the United States and Mexico goes beyond diplomatic and official channels. As you can probably imagine, a political relationship of this caliber has far-reaching consequences in commercial, cultural, and educational exchanges. Fostering a healthy relationship with Mexico comes with happy implications. Today, hundreds of thousands of people legally cross the US-Mexico border, and that's not all. According to the US government, approximately 1.6 million US citizens have chosen Mexico as their new home, which further bolsters the relationship between the two nations. Additionally, as the leading foreign destination for US travelers, Americans' affinity for living in Mexico has allowed for an increased cultural exchange between the two countries. While in the past, harmful stereotypes about Mexico could have been propagated with a lot more ease, today, cliches about Mexico are recognized as what they are: dangerous and bigoted misconceptions of a country that in many ways is actually better than the US. Since there isn't as much distance between Americans and Mexicans today, as more and more Americans leave behind their livelihoods in the US and cross the border to turn a new page in their lives, it's likely that Mexicans and Americans will develop a shared cultural landscape, which will only further bolster the diplomatic ties between them. For some locals, however, American immigration to Mexico seems bizarre. After all, why would anyone want to leave the US at all? Farewell, America. There are many reasons to leave America and wholeheartedly embrace the expat life. For starters, we cannot understate the importance of Mexico's affordability. In Mexico, the cost of living is a pragmatic triumph, a whopping 45.7% lower than in the US. So, once again, let's talk numbers. According to some estimates, you can easily navigate through the month comfortably with a budget ranging from $600 to $2,000. Taking into account the amount of money you'll be saving, moving to Mexico is not a compromise, but a strategic financial move. The same principle of affordability applies to rent too. Living in Mexico allows you to slash your rent expenses by up to 71.2%. As for healthcare, the backbone of well-being, it's 50% more affordable in Mexico as compared to the US. Public hospitals offer a cheaper alternative, but we suggest you opt for international healthcare insurance. Not only do you get access to better medical care, but you do so at a pretty reasonable price. And the allure of Mexico doesn't stop there. Embracing expat life in Mexico means not just saving money, but upgrading your lifestyle. Since Mexico is a lot more affordable than the US, private transportation, a bit of household assistance, and indulging in dining out experiences become more than just hazy dreams. They actually become attainable. So, for most American expatriates, moving to Mexico is not just a financial decision. Rather, it's a well-thought-out plan for a better life. But of course, there's a catch. Why are so many Americans crossing the border? So far, we've only focused on the positives of American expats moving to Mexico in droves. If you really want to look at the entire picture, we can't just look at the rising number of American immigrants as a net positive phenomenon. While this changing trend is likely to strengthen Mexico's economy, it could also have a devastating effect on the locals. Consider this. You're a Mexican living in Mexico City, and you run your small business. With the COVID-19 pandemic affecting the family finances of 79% of almost all Mexicans, you're trying everything that you can to stay afloat. Unfortunately, the world has other plans. With the COVID-19 travel restrictions lifted and the rise of the digital nomad lifestyle, a large number of Americans have embarked on a quest for an enhanced way of life abroad, and a majority of them seem to have landed straight in Mexico City. Known as Ciudad de Mexico, or CDMX, Mexico's capital stands as the largest city in North America, boasting a greater area population of nearly 22 million people. From 2019 to 2023, its population experienced a 3% growth, equivalent to approximately 600,000 people. In tandem with this surge, the number of Americans applying for or renewing residency visas witnessed a remarkable upswing of about 70%, escalating from around 17,800 to over 30,000 between 2019 and 2022. Whether you like it or not, the number of American immigrants in Mexico is increasing. As a struggling small business owner, you are on the fence. You can't seem to decide whether or not the influx of American immigrants is good or not. On the one hand, there are voices within the local population expressing concerns that this expatriate influx poses a threat to the city's essence. Rent prices have escalated, and there have been a rampant increase in short-term rentals. As a small business owner, you stand at risk of being displaced from your neighborhood by the wealthier newcomers, who are also changing the shape of your neighborhood. In certain popular districts, a stroll might reveal a prevalence of English over Spanish, with cafes bustling with remote workers engrossed in their laptops. That's enough imagination to get the point across. For small business owners, the other locals belonging to the same socioeconomic conditions, the impact of the foreign influx is intricate and nuanced. While there are undeniable economic benefits for some Mexican residents, others fear the risk of being displaced or financially handicapped. Expat life in Mexico is all about striking the right balance, and no matter what card you pull, chances are the odds will most likely be in your favor.